bigger boobies, 2 pounds.
Yep.
Yours are probably more than 2 pounds. They are on fire.
I know.
I mean, I'm chill. I'm chilly. All right, Stacey was not funny.
Jaymie started showing up on my Instagram feed. Look at that cute bloke from Liverpool.
What a year it has been.
Yeah, loads of amazing guests.
650,000 downloads.
I showed Jaymie breathing technique the other day for stress.
Come on, Stacey, how do you make your vegetables sexy?
You could just take a screen grab of your arm and say, this is what lifting weights will do to your arm. What's your favourite moment?
It's been a lot. It's been amazing to have some of our graduates on. You are badass, yeah.
Intimidated Jaymie.
I built this.
It's going to be a bodacious 2025.
Without further ado, let's go to our best bits of 2024.
Hi, I'm Jaymie.
And I'm Stacey.
And this is the Body Smart Podcast.
We are women's weight loss experts on a mission to empower you to feel permanently in control of your health and your weight. And what a year it has been for that.
It's been a big year. Big year for the podcast, yeah. Loads of amazing guests, loads of amazing episodes. We've kept consistent. We've had one a week going out.
Yeah, obviously, you know that is one of our things, consistency. And we have lived by one of our own rules this year. So when did we go up to one episode a week?
Was it July of 24?
Yeah, it was this year, wasn't it?
About a year and a half. No, 23.
Okay,
July of 23. There we go.
We should know this.
We should know this. It was around July of 23, yeah.
But yeah, it feels like we've just been unstoppable with the guests that we've been getting, and it's almost like we don't have enough weeks to cover all the topics that we want to cover. So it's been really fun. And we just thought, actually, let's celebrate all those best bits. So today we've got an episode for you where we've picked together not only our favourite bits, but also the bits that we know you guys love the most. But I want to ask you, Jaymie, what's your favourite moment from the podcast been in 2024?
There's been a lot. It's been amazing to have some of our graduates on. It just really feels like it goes full circle to, have some of these ladies that have signed up for coaching, been able to get in the best shape of their lives, lose that weight, know how to maintain the weight that they've lost, and then be able to come on a podcast, which is such a huge step. Like if you'd have asked these women, like, hey, when you were like at the start of that journey, hey, in like a year or two, like you're going to be on the podcast, like it would just be and it was, you can see how it goes full circle when we've interviewed them. So that's been amazing to have a bunch of the graduates on the podcast. And then a couple of the guests that stand out. I think Anise was amazing, the hormone doc on Instagram, and Anise McAgee. She's just so aligned with everything that we say. But when you just hit it off with someone, I think we both felt that on that episode, and it was just great. She just brought a lot of the facts, a lot of the science, said the word obesogenic, which I've used about 1,000 times since. And yeah, just a great episode, a great person.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's been the guests and the grads for me that have made it this year. I've developed quite a few girl crushes.
Yeah.
Anise is one. And also our lovely Annie, who came on.
Annie, yeah.
So,
a lot of bicep posing then.
Yeah, she's just an inspiration. We both were like, whoa, your arms are insane. So if you haven't watched that episode, definitely recommend the visual version, not just the audio version. But yeah, it's just been a real mixed bag in a good way of guests as well, hasn't it? And topics from everything from a sex therapist to a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
And like all of how that combines into wellness as a whole has been fascinating. And I'm so grateful every week when I get to research an episode. I'm like, I get to geek out on something else that's super interesting. So it's been amazing. And it sounds like you guys have enjoyed it too, because we have had a record-breaking year. We've had 650,000 downloads.
It's amazing.
Which sometimes when we see the numbers, we have to pinch ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, it's a little bit surreal as well to think that many people are tuning in, but it's great, and we really want to just keep providing more evidence-based information, really cutting the BS and bringing guests on that align with that, and are really just going to, advocates of educating people, proper information, evidence-based, helping you guys cut through the bullshit, and really take ownership of your health. It's very much the sort of foundations of what this podcast was built on.
Yeah, and I think actually in 2024, that's really important, because it has been a year of like
misinformation.
Podcast getting a bad rep for having like BS on there, but also just every media outlet with misinformation. So hopefully we can be a bit of a light in the storm there. And, this is a place you can come for information you can trust. So without further ado,
Yes.
let's go to our best bits of 2024.
Getting a hot sweat and thinking, oh, this is a crisis. I must be going into perimenopause. And we don't want to make people frightened of it. The awareness should be to empower women. So in perimenopause, the symptoms that are most closely linked with the hormone changes are changes in the periods. So if you've had regular periods and suddenly they're either much more frequent, much less, what I've just said, heavier, lighter, but a change in the periods, or if they stop, obviously, then for a few months, that's a sign. The vasomotor symptoms, we call them, which is the hot sweats, flushes, night sweats, that heat sensitivity, which for some women is minimal. They just say, oh, I just feel a bit hot. Fine, great. Some women, drenching night sweats, pouring with sweats in meetings, having to change their clothes. It's a very individual experience, but that is one of the symptoms that most women know about being associated with menopause. And then vaginal symptoms. So they're the three that are very tightly linked with the changes in hormones. But then there are other symptoms. So if you're not feeling right because of these, you don't sleep as well. You feel more tired in the day. You might be more hungry, craving the sugar, so you're eating more, and then you're gaining weight, and then you suddenly think your body's changing because you suddenly got a tie around your middle. Lots of women say that to me. What's going on? I've never put weight here. Brain fog.
And why is that? Could you explain?
Oh, the change in fat distribution.
Well, there is a small change in fat distribution as the estrogen drops down across the perimenopause. We're talking about a couple of pounds, really, a small amount. But a lot of women today are gaining a lot more than that because of this is probably a triggering word, but it's what we use scientifically. We have an obesogenic environment. So when it would have been 2 pounds you'd gained in the 1980s, now it's like 2 stone because it's so easy. Because if you're exhausted and also remember that everybody's overcommitted. So
what was that word? Because that was
obesogenic environment.
And that's
it's
very obvious, isn't it?
Well, we're in an obesity epidemic.
Yeah.
So at the moment, 75% of the UK population are either overweight or obese.
The UK as well. Oh, wow, because we often
That's
talk
UK
about
data.
that for the US stats.
That's NHS data.
Wow, I didn't know that was here too.
And the prediction by the World Obesity Forum is that by 2035, 75% of the UK population will be obese, i.e. body mass index over 30.
How much?
75% will be obese.
So, okay.
And it's not changing at the moment, you see. People go, oh, well, if we know about it, well, nobody will be obese by 2035, will they?
Well, I don't think anybody knows. It's our job and we didn't know. So.
Yeah, so I work very much in obesity and metabolism, obviously. So...
just coming back to menopause then, because and you've mentioned metabolism and obesity, and these are common things that people will say is that my metabolism is slowed down because I'm going through menopause, and from some of the studies and data that we've read, that isn't the case, but in the sense of your body doesn't change, but your hormones changing and having night sweats and poor sleep is going to impact your behavior and appetite, which because it affects your behavior, you then burn fewer calories and eat more calories, which is what causes you to gain body weight. But it's not necessarily like the laws of thermodynamics or calories in, calories out has necessarily changed.
So association doesn't mean causation. Midlife women who are under massive stress and going through menopause are gaining weight at the moment. But if you look at midlife women 30 years ago, they weren't gaining that same amount of weight. So we haven't had a change in our, genetic physiology in the last 30 years. This is environmental.
I had lost weight in, 2012, and then because of injuries and life changes, things had started to creep up. Then I started cycling between different types of fads and apps and other kind of coaching things. So,
and sorry, when you previously lost weight, you lost
73 pounds.
73 pounds.
Yes.
And then that slowly came back.
And then it slowly came back over the 10 years. And I tried different fads along the way. And I tried different exercise routines, joined CrossFit and stuff like that. But nothing was sticking. And then COVID came. And that what really just sort of tipped me over the edge. By then, I was going through perimenopause. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. A specialist had said, "You realize you have PCOS?" And I was like, that answered a lot of questions. And then COVID came, and I just crashed. And I just pretty much ate my way through COVID, and then gained ultimately everything that I had lost back. And I just felt ashamed, because I thought, oh, I had done this, and now I've like lost it all. I felt really discouraged, because I thought, like, I've got PCOS, hypothyroidism, and menopause, and everything I was seeing on the internet said, you're doomed. Like, there's nothing you can do.
That's like the trifecta of, like, you can't lose weight, or at least what the internet would tell you.
Oh, the internet was telling me that I was, like, doomed, and, like just live with it. And even, like, a gynecologist I saw, she's like, well, yeah, that's just life. I was like, really? Is that what I have to, like, look forward to, that there's nothing I can do? So I was really discouraged. I felt ashamed, and I was also just super aware. I'm 53 years old. I got one life to live in one body, and I would really like to, like, finish well and enjoy the second half of my life. So what can I do? And that's when Jaymie started showing up on my Instagram feed, and so I started getting curious about Body Smart. Yeah,
It was meant to be.
look at that cute bloke from Liverpool. Yeah.
I do have a habit of planning. As I say, I plan my food and my exercise a week in advance, if you like. But I do that deliberately to just take something out my head, if you like. Because as I say, I don't want to be in a position where I've, which again was, if I haven't thought about it and then something happens in work and I'm late in work, well, it's so easy then to...
especially when you've got a busy career.
Yeah.
It's that, what is it, failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Yeah.
So, by having that plan and taking that mental bandwidth on, say, the weekend for the week ahead,
it
makes it
it's
your
so
default.
easy to grab something that that you wouldn't normally do, or that isn't going to satisfy you anyway, because it's just a quick fix type of thing. So I find doing that really, really helpful, if you like. And then again, because I'll know what I'm doing in work, I can plan if I've got something I'm going to be late. So then I'll exercise in the morning potentially, but I've got to plan my exercise. If I don't do my exercise, I get a little bit ratty now, if you like.
Okay, so is it more for, like, your headspace now?
Headspace now. Headspace. It really sort of, work can be incredibly frustrating at times and put me in a really, really bad headspace that again, I would have previously, that would have been, so I deserve that now. I deserve going and eating and eating and not worrying about it and treating myself because I've had such a bad day in work. Whereas no, now it is I'm going in to put my baked potato in the oven. So while the oven is cooking, I'm going and pounding weights to sort of go...
Get that aggression out.
And I picture certain individuals when I'm trying to lift it. I'm trying to do that overhead press.
I love it. Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, it is. It's such, you've swapped, in essence, turning to food as a way of changing your state. And because you're not feeling great. So, like, let's eat something that's pleasurable. And that'll change my state. But then it comes with the guilt and the shame and not feeling so great afterwards. Versus going and doing something that makes you feel good, relieves, like physiologically relieves all that stress. And then enjoy your food even more and can chill out for the evening.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is just, it's... I wish I could just convey how great it feels to sort of to be behind the wheel more than it was. Always felt like it was it always felt like it was the food that was driving me. It was always, it's that constant noise of eat that, you need to eat that, you need to eat that. And it was always just take it. It was the answer to everything. Whereas now it's, no, it isn't.
You're in charge now.
I'm in charge now. I'm in charge now. And it's that, and it does give you that confidence. It is, I wasn't always a shrinking violet, don't get me wrong, but I was very much, I entered a room and said, hi, I'm Julie, I'm fat. To sort of get it out there. That was my identity, and it was me. So come on, let's, I'll start the jokes first so that nobody else needs to. Whereas now it's not. No, it's I'm Julie, and I'm here to contribute to this meeting because, I've got the confidence I can bring something to the meeting, or to the wherever scenario.
I have been doing the same exercises for 3 years. I haven't changed.
Oh, please share.
Anything.
What? So could you walk us through what those 10 exercises
Yeah, so what I do, got me now, I'm trying to think. So I do a back squat. So what do I start off with? A back squat and a bench press.
Yeah.
So I do bench press, and then I might do a goblet squat.
Yeah.
So I might do a goblet squat, or lately I've been doing leg extensions. So. Or also I do, instead of that one, I do a kind of a squat then into a deadlift with a kettlebell. So sometimes I change that one.
Yeah.
But it's based around a squat type.
But it's a lower body. It's based around a squat, yes, and a bench press. And then my second one is a back squat with a row.
Single arm row, yeah.
So I do a row.
Fantastic, yeah.
And then the next one is an RDL.
So Romanian deadlift.
Yeah, Romanian deadlift.
Yeah.
So and these are all with the Olympic bar, by the way. So the bench press, the Olympic bar, the back squat is with the Olympic bar, and the RDL is with the Olympic bar. So then I do the RDL, and then I do some bicep curls, and I literally do the curls. I do 20 reps of those, alternate curls. So. And then after that, I do split squats. So, I do.
Well, love them or hate them.
Oh,
It's a love-hate relationship.
I know, but I actually love them. I used to hate them.
I love them
but
too.
I love them, and everyone thinks I'm crazy because they are so painful. But
Yeah.
But they are so effective.
Oh my
I feel
goodness,
like
I think they're
I can
amazing.
actually target. I can feel it working.
Yeah. Oh yes.
I
love
that
that
sensation. You want to know that you're
Mad, isn't
actually
it?
doing something worthwhile, right? I
Oh.
hate doing an exercise and feeling like, this isn't really
Definitely.
challenging me, or like I don't feel like it's getting the right muscles.
No.
Whereas that, it hits the spot.
It targets it right there, doesn't it? So I do a unilateral move basically on my lower body. So it's a split squat.
So just for anybody listening that doesn't know what that is, you might know it as a lunge, like a stationary lunge.
So you're working one leg at a time. A unilateral move is working one. In this case, one leg at a time. So I either do the split squat, but lately I've changed the split squat over to a reverse lunge, a deficit. So I'm actually standing on something with the Olympic bar, which I'm quite enjoying that. But again, it's another lunge. So it's just another different version of a lunge, but I'm quite enjoying that at the moment. It's just quite painful.
It is.
I love it. So I like mixing the lunges up. But it's either a split squat or a lunge, reverse lunge.
Any shoulder pressing?
Sometimes I do the Arnold presses. So sometimes I add those in. But the next set I do so with the lunge, I pair that with a tricep exercise. So I love working my triceps.
You've got great triceps.
They are one of my favourite muscles. It's so ridiculous. I think everyone must have a favourite. Have you got a favourite muscle?
But probably my
Just
legs.
weird.
Yeah, because like on my legs, I've got my body fat is like the top of my hands. It's genetic. Like my mum's got no fat on her legs either. So my legs are just muscle.
Is this as in your favourite
Amazing.
muscle, as in the one that you like the look of the most, or the one you like working the most?
Well, both. I mean, as a result, it looks better because you keep working it, don't you? But I mean, it's a byproduct. But I just think I love working my triceps because it's such a great muscle to work.
And sometimes when you can feel the muscle work on more, you do tend to have favourite exercises.
Yeah, I
and
think
muscle
you
groups.
do.
Yeah.
So I do lots of variations of those. So I do an overhead press, on the pulley bar. I like that one. But then also the straight bar push down on the pulley, or the rope pull down as well.
Fantastic.
So I like doing that. But then I like doing a bent over tricep extension, working your arms, your unilateral move. So So I pair my tricep exercise with my lunge. So then I do that.
Oh, fantastic.
And then I do my glutes. So I do a sumo sort of deadlift with a really heavy dumbbell. And then I pair that up with a bridge lift with the same weight, actually. So I get onto the floor and I do, at the moment, doing frog pumps. Which are pretty hideous. So you put your palms of your feet together and you put the weight on your hips and you bring it up. So I'm doing 25 pulses. I like to do the glute work. I like to do pulses on. So 25 of those and then hold it for 10 seconds. And then I do, the sumo deadlift. So with the same weight, and I do about 15 of those.
Yeah. So there's a concept, and people think it's, exercise and should be more complicated than this. It's called the Big Six. It's basically 6 exercises that make up pretty much all exercises. And if you do a variation of one of them and do all 6, you train your whole body, which is basically what you've just gone through.
Yeah.
So it's an overhead press to an extent, or a horizontal press, which would be like a bench press. So it's one of them two, that's your shoulders and your chest. Then it's a vertical pull down, which would be like a lat pull down or a pull up, and then like a horizontal pull, so it would be like a dumbbell row, like you've said.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's a hip hinge, which would be like an RDL or a deadlift that you've just done, and then a leg press, which would be the squat or the split squat or lunge. And if you just basically do those 6 movements, you train your whole body under resistance.
Definitely.
Which is, when you look at it like that, it's like 6 movements.
Yeah, I know.
And you've incorporated all 6 of those movements in those 10 exercises that you do. When you're seeing like Kim Kardashian promote it, and these other celebrities promote it online, or other people like, I just need to lose 15 pounds when I just took Ozempic, like those people and how that's getting pushed around socials.
I think we really need to address that though, because it's not actually approved for that use. So first thing, Ozempic is not a weight loss medication. It's a diabetes medication. It's not approved for weight loss. It's the same chemical or active ingredient that's in Wegovy, which is, but it shouldn't be used for weight loss, Ozempic. Secondly, Wegovy is only actually approved by the FDA in America for use of someone with a BMI over 27 with comorbidities.
Yeah.
Or over 30. Kim Kardashian...
30 BMI.
Yeah, not age 30.
Yeah.
So if you only need to lose 15 pounds, you do not meet that criteria.
No.
So it's not approved for use in those populations. And I think we haven't had this drug around for long enough to know what are the implications of taking it off label. Even if the side effects seem minor, so you feel a bit nauseous, you might vomit, you might get diarrhea. I mean, I don't actually think that sounds minor. That sounds like being pregnant constantly, which is horrendous. But if that's all we know so far. What happens if you do take it for 20 years?
And this is it. Like, we just do not know what the side effects are. And it's like, and there are other ways. And I know people be like, well, what are the other ways? I've tried them all. So it feels like this is the thing to take. And even human behavior and human psychology is like, you are going to take the path of least resistance. Like, that is human behavior, and you are going to look for something that can, like, this is why someone can phone up and just be like, oh, just put the credit card down and pay 25 grand for liposuction, versus sometimes we might need to fight tooth and nail to someone to, come sign up to coaching because of like, they just like, oh, right, what's liposuction going to give me? I want to lose 40 pounds of fat. They're going to suck it out of me.
Overnight.
It's going to be done instantly, and I'm going to be in a bit of pain for 2 weeks. But that's it. It can guarantee the results. It can be done very fast, and I'm in a bit of pain for 2 weeks. Like, that's the effort and sacrifice. Versus, for a lot of other people, that's like, well, I've got to exercise. I've got to make more mindful decisions. I've got to, start to unpick some bad behaviors. There's a lot of work to be done, and that puts people off from even starting. Or if they have started, they haven't been able to see successful. So something like Ozempic comes along, and it's like, oh, this is the thing for me.
I think even that's a misconception though, because if you are being prescribed it and it's being like administered in the proper way, it should be a build up over 1 to 2 months to find the correct dose. You're not going to see instant results. It's not overnight. It's not going to suddenly drop 20 pounds off you. Like, those results in the controlled tests were, what was it, 10% of your body weight over 6 months.
Yeah.
It's not instant.
And a big thing for that as well is what you're typically seeing for people who go on weight loss medication and aren't eating higher protein diets, maybe aren't getting better sleep habits, and definitely aren't doing resistance training. They're losing a lot of muscle mass and even some bone density as well throughout that. So you're getting weaker bones, you're increasing the chance of you getting, osteoporosis, especially if you're older, and you're losing muscle. And muscle is something like you want to fight tooth and nail to keep on. But you're just basically putting yourself in a giant calorie deficit, and your body is just using, like, a calorie deficit is controlled starvation. In a controlled manner, you are starving your body so it eats itself. That's what's happening. And your body will eat fat, eat muscle, eat whatever it can to keep you going. And if you're not getting enough sleep, eating enough protein, doing resistance training, you will lose fat and muscle, which is, let's say somebody loses 10% of their body weight, but it's predominantly from fat, versus someone loses 10% of their body weight predominantly from fat and muscle. That person looks very different. And
they look different, and the damage to their metabolism, which we talked about in another episode, damage maybe isn't the right word, but the impact to their metabolism is very different. So hence why when people stop taking it, they have such a rebound effect. So even the manufacturers say, like, if you stop taking it, 70% of people will regain weight.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy. And I think that's where that real, like, approach with caution needs to be said. Like, we don't fully know the short and medium and long-term side effects. We really don't. And if you're not willing, if you're like, hey, I've got $1,000 a month to spend for the rest of my life, and I want to inject myself with a weight loss medication for the rest of my life, like, you have to understand, like, that's the route that you're going down. And if you can't do that, you're just doing it for the quick fix to see results in 3, 6 months, a year. You've just got to understand that you're just going to end up in that cycle or that loop forever, and that's going to become such a crutch.
If you didn't know by now, I am a weight loss coach who lost 50 pounds myself, so I know how hard this journey can be. Jaymie and I built the Body Smart method to cut through the BS out there and bring together the latest weight loss science to fast track your weight loss. None of the frustrating trial and error that I battled with myself. In fact, over 4,000 women have lost 15 to 60 pounds within 6 months with us, whilst also gaining healthy habits, the knowledge and skills that they'll need to never diet again. We know you've thrown hundreds, if not thousands of dollars at this before and been disappointed endless times. At Body Smart though, we are so confident that you'll get results with our method. We have a full money back guarantee. To find out more, go to bodysmartfitness.com.
If you're going to the gym and you're getting your calories and your macros right, then you must be good. That's not always the case for people. You have to take time to figure out your own issues, what's going on within, and why are you turning to food? That was my question. I had to, go inwards and say, what happened today? Who triggered you today? What feeling am I feeling right now that I'm going for food? And that's kind of then when things started to shift, because I wasn't just trying to brush things under the carpet. I was like, let me actually figure out what's going on here and navigate why I'm turning to the things that I'm turning to.
Mm-hmm. And that is such a hard question to ask yourself.
It's a painful endeavor, isn't it?
Yeah. So, did you do that on your own or did you have help?
I kind of did it all on my own. Yeah.
Did you journal or?
So journaling was a massive part of my journey, and asking yourself the hard questions for sure, 100%.
Have you got a few questions that would be helpful for somebody to start with?
The very first one, if it is someone that's kind of struggling with food, and I think it can be hard to differentiate at the beginning between emotional hunger and actual hunger. And like we said, if you're not educated to know the difference, it can be hard to navigate that. But you have to kind of ask yourself from a logical point of view, am I actually hungry right now? Or have I just ate and I want to keep eating for what reason? So I guess the first question would be like, am I actually hungry right now? Yes, no, kind of figure that out. And then just go into the why. Why am I, turning to food today? What happened? So I think those are my kind of first two. Try and differentiate where you're at with your relationship with food, and then ask yourself why, and then what can I do instead? So usually I think people who have emotional reliances on food don't know how to cope in another way yet.
That's fantastic. So just to rewind back a little bit, because I think it'll be really important for just people to try and understand. You're 21, you're at your heaviest. Yeah. We're in a girl's bathroom, being sick, not feeling our best. We have this moment in the mirror of like, enough's enough. And then you go on to lose 50 plus pounds. Why? What were the deep reasons why? And then what was step one for you?
So from that moment, I think people, when they see my weight loss transformation, they immediately want to know, what was the time span between this? I want to do what you did. And the first, I'd say 6 months of my journey was doing all of that work. Because I believe anyway, if you're trying to really heal your relationship with food, you have to take the emphasis off weight loss, especially if you're coming from a place of, disordered eating, or your relationship with food isn't on a good side. Try and heal that relationship first before you actually get into the weight loss. So I think my first step was, I'm going to try and get healthier. Not I'm going to try and lose weight. I'm just going to try and get healthier. So that was my first step, because I said to myself, I wanted to make it sustainable and long lasting this time. I was tired of the losing weight, gaining it back and losing weight. I was just fed up with that. And I said, I want to just be a healthier individual. I want everyday movement to feel a little bit better. I want to look after my nutrition. I want to learn a little bit more. So that was my step one, was just saying, I want to be healthier. And then how can I start to do that? And that's through your daily habits. And that's through things that people, again, often just brush under the carpet. Can I drink a little bit more water? I'm not going to start going to the gym right now, but can I go for a walk every day? Can I start getting more fruit and vegetables? And then that's kind of then what led me into my weight loss, because then I felt ready to go into the weight loss side of things. So yeah, that's kind of step one. Have a goal, but don't put too much pressure on yourself.
So you actually lost 35 kilos, which is about 75 pounds, which is insane. Like, as a proportion of your body weight, that is huge. So can we just have a little moment of yay? We have a big thing at Body Smart called NSVs, non-scale victories. Could you share what some of those were for you along the way?
For me, it's been mostly like strength goals and doing an amount of deadlifts or squats or pull-ups or things like that. That's what drives me.
And when you started this journey, did you ever think, I'm going to be able to just do 10 pull-ups?
No, I could never imagine, never. And when I went to school, do a regular push-up on my toes, that was like not going to happen. But now I do it like.
So even though you were very active previously, you weren't strong in the same way?
No.
That's amazing.
Definitely not.
And you started in your 40s, right?
Yeah, I was 42.
So I think that's really empowering for people to hear. It's not like you were an athlete at school and then you regained it.
We did the Cooper's test, the running test in school. It was dreadful. And now I'm running 5K, 10K, 15K. So, no.
So it's never too late to start, right?
Nope.
Amazing. Was there anything else that was non-physical that changed?
Yeah, a lot of the mindset things. As I told you, I tend to put the energy in things that gives me energy and not taking my energy. Mm-hmm. And I walk around. My gym time is sacred to me because that's my me time. And everything has to be planned around it. I'm not skipping one workout if I'm not ill or injured or whatever. If I'm doing my workouts because that's what keeps me up.
And what do you find? You said the things that, like, what wasn't giving you energy in the past, and now what does give you energy? I know you mentioned your workouts did, and
my workouts give me energy, and actually spending too much time with people that don't give me anything, it takes my energy.
Fun fact, every 1 hour of extra sleep for a woman increases their libido by 14%. Yeah.
Very good.
So if there's any men listening and you need a reason to let your wife have a lion this weekend,
there's one.
There you go. I will give you evidence it does work. But yeah, it is one of those things where if you haven't had enough sleep, you're like, I can't even do the day. I don't want to deal with you as well.
Yeah.
And actually, there was a study by the University of Loughborough which shows that women do need more sleep.
Yeah. I mean, I think hormones, childbirth, pregnancy, just like there's like a whole flipping list of things that women have to go through that men don't. You know what I mean? Our hormones are much more regular in terms of like throughout the month and on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, like I sleep somewhere between 5 and 7 hours, maybe 7.5 hours a night max.
You're one of the stats.
I'm one of the stats, yeah. Versus like Steph could sleep 2 hours more than me every single night.
Oh, me too. Easy. 7's like, whoa, bare minimum. Whoa. The Loughborough study where it said that women need more.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, women definitely need more. There's clinical significance for 11 to 20 minutes of extra sleep. I was like, no. And you were like, no.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the reason is, the way they did the study was they just like told people just go to bed whenever you feel like it and wake up whenever you feel like it, but with everything optimized. And that's what naturally happened. But
it was the fact that poor sleep or lack of sleep had a bigger effect on women. I think that's what, like Steph and I experience is, okay, we can function with only 11 more minutes sleep than you, but we get more stressed about it. We have like more emotional impact from it. We make poorer decisions because of it. Whereas the impact on men seems to be less. So they can have that 11 minutes less, but then go on and just run their day like normal. Whereas we really feel it. There are certain exercises you can do that are better for belly fat.
No. I get asked this all the time. And again, it's, logically you can think, hey, if I train that area, if I do abdominal exercises, then I'm going to be able to lose fat off that area. But that's not how the body loses fat. You basically breathe out the majority of your fat by being in a calorie or an energy deficit. And where that fat comes off is determined by your genetics. So you can typically see this sometimes in like your family, your cousins, your mum, your dad, your siblings. You can kind of see like, hey, does our family carry more weight in their legs or carry more weight on their stomach? And that just could be something that you are genetically more predisposed to holding more fat in that area. But yes, the training, whether it's your stomach or your arms or your legs, it doesn't mean that the fat will come off that area. All you can do is train in a consistent calorie deficit and eventually the fat will come off that area.
There is obviously so many workouts out there. If you go on YouTube, like workout for belly fat.
Belly fat blitz, 5 minute belly out.
You will find pages of them. But the fact is there is no one better exercise than any other. However, you did just mention strength training.
Yes.
And what I think is often mind-blowing when I speak to clients when they're like, oh, I want to work on my belly. I'll be like, okay, we're going to do loads of squats and deadlifts. And they're like, what? Because actually what you want to do is maximize how much energy you use in the session and how much muscle you build, so you use more energy after the session. And where are your biggest muscles? In your legs and your glutes.
Yep.
So if you wanted to genuinely do the best exercise for belly fat, it's going to be the things that are going to burn the most fat, and that's going to be working those legs because they've got some big ass muscles in them.
Exactly. So yeah, your compound movements, your squats, your deadlifts, you think about them, you're hinging from the knees, you're hinging from the hips, you're using pretty much, like on a deadlift, nearly every muscle in your body. Maybe.
And you are still using your abs.
Oh, you 100%. That's one of the great things with near enough every compound movement. So a compound movement is going to be where two joints move. So either the knee and hip or the shoulder and elbow. You're likely going to be engaging your core like quite significantly. And then you can even move that. So you're doing like unilateral exercises. So let's say you do, instead of doing a squat, you do a split squat. Your core will be engaged even more, doing those exercises to keep you balanced. So your core is always being worked.
What some people see on themselves as I've got a fat lower belly and I want to change it is a lot of the time is postural as well. So if you stand with your hips tilted forwards, it kind of makes your belly stick out. And if that's the problem for you and you feel like actually I haven't got a lot of fat to lose, but I feel like I've got a fat belly, then there are some core exercises which just kind of correct that pelvic tilt and bring your core more into alignment. A lot of Pilates movements, things like dead bugs are really good for that. So that doesn't actually help you lose belly fat, but it makes your physique look different, and it's probably the look that you're after.
Yeah, and I would also say as well, like just coming back to it, if you build more muscle, if you have more muscle in your body, but don't gain any extra weight, or your body fat percentage goes down as proxy as well. So they're just like other things that you can do where you can have, by having more muscle, you'll have a lower body fat percentage. And if you build more muscle in certain areas, not so much your stomach, because you'd have to have like ginormous abs, but like let's say you build more muscle on your arms or on your legs, if you did carry a little bit more fat in there, that the ratio of fat to muscle can change. So you can actually look leaner at a higher body fat percentage as well.
Yeah. So you can't pick a certain exercise that's best for belly fat. No. But if you were wanting to lose belly fat, there are exercises that you might want to prioritize. They're just not what you might want. Back in sort of 70s, 80s, they did some research, and the science wasn't very well developed at that point, but they basically looked at epidemiological studies and went, oh, look, the people that eat a lot of eggs, they seem to have a lot of cholesterol and they have a lot of heart disease. All right, let's limit everyone eating eggs. But that science wasn't like a situation where they gave some people eggs and some people no eggs and looked at the outcomes. And actually now looking back, a lot of the researchers are saying, well, it was probably other factors. The people who had eggs every day also had bacon and sausages, and it was in a fry up. It wasn't like they were having poached eggs on whole grain toast with avocado. So there has been a lot more science now, and the recommendation is different. But if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, this is how many eggs you were supposed to eat a week. and that is 3 a week.
Versus
now, the recommendation is still, if you've got high cholesterol, which we'll go into in a minute, probably limit it to 1 a day. Most people, though, you're totally fine with 2 a day.
Yeah.
Jaymie, how many do you eat?
Well, I actually brought how many eggs a week I have. So we've got a box here. We've got 1, 2. Let's open these up, okay? Because there's a fair few. And these are white eggs. Which you were a bit shocked by, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I've never actually received a box of white eggs in them, and I think
Never?
in the US I think it's quite normal, but in the UK all our eggs tend to be brown. So we opened up the boxes, and 6 or 7 of the boxes were white.
Do we know why that is? It just down to the?
There you go. There's some brown ones. I mixed them up.
Is it down to, because people used to say, which apparently is not true, people their white eggs are bleached, but that isn't. Yeah, I'm looking at Simon to fact check us here.
I think it's just different types of chickens.
Yeah, different types of chickens. Yeah.
And I actually think in the UK normally the white ones go into like the catering industry, because the brown ones look more like wholesome, like they're fresh from the farm, and they're more like
the fall here. Well, I've got 6-pack of eggs here.
So 42.
42 eggs. Yeah, that's typical. I eat like 6 eggs a day, and it's actually just become like a running joke anywhere I go and order breakfast. People are like almost giving me like a second take. Like, how many eggs? What have we got here?
Oh yeah, so the eggs are definitely not bleached. It's just different chickens that don't produce the pigment.
It's different chickens. But you do typically see, if you go to America, most of the eggs are white.
Yeah.
And most of the eggs are brown over here. So I don't know if that's the...
There's probably just a different benefit to, like, maybe those kinds of chickens make bigger eggs. I don't know. I'm not an egg expert. Expert, but yeah, obviously we're not saying you should personally go out and eat 42 eggs a week. But the point is, in the midst of a balanced diet and active lifestyle, when you're managing your cholesterol through other means, like, this isn't necessarily a problem. But I do want to talk about cholesterol, because it's one of those words that gets chucked around, and like, people say things all the time. Like recently, it's not even recently anymore, but do you remember that documentary, What the Health?
Yes. I mean, I would be very cautious of ever taking your nutrition and health advice from a Netflix documentary.
True. But at the time, do you remember, it was literally like people were taking it as gospel and changing their complete diets.
Yeah.
And they made statements like eating 1 egg a day is as bad as smoking 5 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
It's really not.
No.
And I think understanding why people make these claims and understanding how that applies to you is the big difference in everything we're going to talk about today, because there is probably a portion of the population probably should limit their eggs.
Yeah.
But most of us, if you're active and healthy and you've got a balanced diet, probably fine.
Yeah, they can really be like, I mean, I'll give some context around why I eat 6 eggs, because I think that might be important. One is there's a lot of protein in them. I used to have a much higher carbohydrate-based diet and like lower fat, high protein. But now over the years, I've actually switched to, I still get a lot of carbs in my diet, but actually I've gone for more fat. I find it much more satiating. And I've actually seen from my blood work that my health markers have got better. So yeah, having the 6 eggs. And then if I ever want to actually cut down my calories, an easy way of me doing that is I just reduce the amount of yolks. So like the yolk is what's got the fat in, and most of the calories, the white has got all the protein in it. So sometimes you could have, like, most people, even listening to this, could have 6 eggs, but maybe just have 2 yolks.
Well, that's the thing, is the cholesterol's in the yolks.
The cholesterol's in the yolk, yeah.
So and that's why like egg white omelets were such a big thing on like the Miami, whatever it was, South Beach diet.
Yeah, but that's all the goodness as well, to an extent.
Yes.
You can get you get pure protein, like literally calorie for calorie, it's pure protein from egg whites. So, you can still have like 1 or 2 whole eggs. I mean, if you wanted to bump up your protein intake, an easy way to do that is to add egg whites.
Yeah.
Or people get like egg white cartons and stuff.
Yeah. But if you have a dog, they love the yolk.
They love the yolk, do they?
That's what I do with mine.
Yeah, because they used to just go down the sink, which always used to feel like a bit of a waste, but it's just...
You need to get a dog.
Yeah. Don't put them in the bin. Do not put your egg yolks in the bin. It gets out somehow. It's not good.
You have control, and that's what is so empowering, and that's what I'm passionate about sharing, that there are certain things that you can't control, but control the controllables. And that means making sure you do strength train. It's making sure that you do put good food in your body, but we all know that we like to, enjoy life. I mean, it would be very boring to just eat clean all of the time, and I don't profess to. It's about balance, but it's making sure that you are hitting that protein, and that's the first thing that you think about with every meal. It's making sure that you are active, that you are moving. It's non-negotiable. You've got to get your steps in. It's like paying rent. You've just got to get it done. But it doesn't have to be on a 24-hour clock. So think about that as well and be flexible. It's about the sleep. And we're all going to have those days where we don't sleep well. It happens. But also not let that knock you. You just always want to try, as you're always saying, the 1% better.
Yeah. For a lot of the women that come to you, I can imagine you having this conversation and going, but that all just sounds like so basic.
That is the problem, that I think it causes paralysis almost, because they come in most of the time, perfectionist mindset, all or nothing. They want the results yesterday and they want to see something big and grand straight away. And trying to really, truly understand that it's slow and steady wins the race, marathon, not a sprint. And those small changes, so many different analogies. It's like scoring a goal but not letting a goal in. It's like it's the 1% that add up, but the 1% that you're leaking. All of that. But it's recognizing, but those 1% was not worth doing, or those licks, bites, tastes didn't really add up, but they do. It's just about showing up. And I love the saying, give yourself a gift in 24 hours time. So like you say, do your hard. Today I had my cold shower.
Love it.
I really turned it on cold. I actually did a run as well, and I was really tired. So I did 2 really what I would class as my hards that tomorrow I'm going to be grateful for. And I think when you think about it like that, and then what is this thing that you're going to do today that you're happy to be doing? I'm here. So there's like a gift for tomorrow. And if you're always thinking about that, because we want to future-proof ourselves for the next decade and the next decade, but that's just like, you can't get that into your head. But honestly, when you're in your 70s and if you haven't done it, you really wish you would have had. And this is why we say to ladies, you're future-proofing yourself. So when you're showing up and doing the workout that you don't want to do because, you're tired, you are loading your bones. You are moving your muscles, and muscles are the powerhouse of your body. So they are metabolic, that your metabolic rate is going to stay higher if you have more muscle on your body. And that is what you do.
My morning routine.
Yeah.
I guess it's got like a few nuanced things in it, but it's nothing like spectacular. I get up, I brush my teeth, but I brush my teeth in the shower, and now I get a cold shower. And that wakes you up fast.
Hang on, so you do your teeth in the cold shower? Just like chill, hanging out in a cold shower?
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm chill. I'm chilly. All right, Stacey, was not funny. But yeah,
I'm a sucker for a dad joke.
Yeah, I'm chilly in the shower. But yeah, I brush my teeth in the shower because the electric toothbrush, that's got you that one, is 2 minutes. So that's kind of like, I'll do 2 minutes and then I'll do another minute just like getting washed, and then I want to, like, you are desperate to get out.
It's cold that whole time?
It's cold that whole time, yeah. So you get out and you look like a tomato. You're nice and red, and it's like putting a towel on your face feels so nice because it's just like,
Listener, you do not need to do this.
Yeah, you don't need to do this. So, and every morning I get up and I dread it. And then the second I get out, I'm like awake and I'm like happy I've done it. I get dressed and then I'll try and work out straight away. So, within 15 minutes of waking up, I am downstairs in the garage, starting my workout, and then I will typically work out for anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour and a half, depending on the day. So if it's an hour and a half, it's because I've spent like 20 minutes stretching. If it's 45 minutes, it's because I've got a meeting, coming straight afterwards. So yeah, like that's it. I drink a glass of water before I start my workout. Always do that. And then I'll get like another litre to a litre and a half. What's that, like 30 to 45 ounces while I'm working out. So like before I finish my workout, I've drank like 2 litres, 60 ounces of water. And I feel great. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like the stress from the day before is gone. I feel energized, like mind feels clear. And the one thing I don't do in that whole time is I do not go on my phone. So
we're going to talk about that a bit later, but one of the things that we wanted to really get into this episode is it's not always about like doing more. Sometimes it's about doing less.
Yeah, and taking some stuff away. Yeah. Especially that can like deplete your dopamine. So that would be like my ideal way of like starting a morning. And then some mornings I have a meeting, so it's literally just up, shower, and I've got like a meeting at 6 a.m. So I'm up at 5:30, straight in the shower, and then I'm sat behind my desk within 20 minutes. And they're the days, you know, like I could get up at 4 and do it, but I just don't.
I mean, you did last month
yeah.
when I was here, and I looked across at you at about 10, and I was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I was like, right, I'm gonna get up even earlier to try and get in like my workout and a bunch of work before I come to the office at 9 o'clock. And I did. I got like 4 or 5 hours of stuff done, but yeah, I got like a real 3 o'clock lag.
Yeah. I think the takeaway of it is a morning routine is there to optimize, but it's not something you need to be married to. Like, it can flex.
Yeah. And I actually think if you do become married to your morning routine and you start saying, I need my morning routine, or I need to do these certain things, like you're creating like crutches. And then if those crutches get knocked away, which they will for us all, if you've got kids, if you've got a busy career, if you get sick, if you're traveling, it just means that like, or when you can't have the perfect routine or circumstance, you now feel like at a loss. And you actually do personally feel at a loss, versus just trying to make the most of whatever situation you're in. Oh, like you just accept that like circumstances happen. You'll just do the best that you can. And I think that's a much stronger, more resilient mindset to have for when you're traveling, for when you've got kids, for when things don't go to plan.
Hope you guys enjoyed the clips and some of our best bits over 2024. We just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's tuned in, listened to the podcast, and shared it, made it what it is, commented on the posts on social media and across the board. It really does help get our message out there, and we just want to say a massive thank you.
Yeah, and we cannot wait to carry on the journey with you in 2025.
Yeah, and as Jess, one of our editors, says, it's going to be a very bodacious 2025 for sure.